Our series, Show and Tell, will take you inside some of the great libraries, both public and private, to explore books and treasures from Jewish history. What's the goal of the Columbia Library? What are you looking to preserve? What are the stories that you're looking to tell in what you oversee at the Columbia Judaica collection?
So I sort of am inspired by Sala Baron, who built some of this collection. We didn't talk so much about Sala Baron's involvement, but he was very involved in building the library throughout the 20th century. And his interest was in social history. So in history of communities, in histories of people, in studying how people, the average person lived, worked, went through life. And so when I'm acquiring materials for the collection, I look for items that sort of go along that path. What is something that can tell me about how somebody lived, particularly if it's something that I don't think is well represented. So I'll buy a manuscript chinas in Yiddish written for a particular woman. So this woman commissioned a scribe to write this book for her. We have strengths, particular geographic strengths. So I'll buy particularly Amsterdam, partially because of the collection I talked about earlier that came from Amsterdam, but also the area of the Canton Venison, which was the south of France, the Papal States, where the popes protected the Jews there. And so even after the Jews were expelled from France in 1390, the Jews in this particular area were able to stay. And we have Pinkasei Kehila, so we have their record books of the community in the collection, which talk about all sorts of things, but among which are, you've got to stop spending so much money on weddings because people just can't afford it, which sounds perhaps familiar to some people today. Or you can't spend so much money on jewelry or stop wearing jewelry outside because our neighbors are going to get upset and it will harm the entire community. So that was something that impacted the day-to-day lives, how people lived their lives as Jews, wherever they were. We have a significant collection of material relating to various communities in Italy, in Mantua, in Padua. And then I have a particular interest in books, so as I hope I've been saying, books that tell stories. So I recently was able to acquire a Yiddish manuscript talking about a blood libel in Metz, just outside of Metz, from the perspective of the Jews. So in many cases when we hear about blood libels, it's because it's the court case, it's the court documents. And so the assumption is that the Jews are wrong and the Jews are out to kill the Christians. Whereas here you get the sense of the horror, sort of of the Jewish community. How could this happen? Why would they think that this man who was carrying a shofar, because it was Rosh Hashanah time, actually have been carrying a boy to sacrifice? And so you see these little tales that come through. We have another book here, which has at the top of the book, it is now 1778. This book was printed 181 years ago. So you have this little snippet of information from a previous owner who's so excited to see a book from so long ago. You know, in the way that we look at a book from 500 years ago, but he's looking at a book from 200 years ago and is having that same feeling, which I think also is something that we very much can relate to. What I see in our collection is so much that everything new is old, rather, that nothing is new, that all of this happens again and again. Humans are humans, Jews are Jews, and sort of the lives continue in similar ways, in similar patterns. And that to me is just amazing, to be able to have the privilege of being able to spend my days with these materials.